Hi, this is Monique. I had one of my students come to me the other day and ask me how to not get bitter when stuff keeps going wrong. They said that they tried to stay open, but that sometimes it just feels easier to shut down. And I think we can all relate to this. And it's easy for us to believe we don't have a choice. When something hard happens, maybe we're misunderstood, or maybe we're disappointed, or maybe we're betrayed. It can feel automatic to, want to respond with resentment or defensiveness. And we close down even if we don't mean to. And that armor goes up. But I want you to remember that there's always a moment, even if it's a fraction of a second, where another path is possible. So we can meet the same circumstance, the same pain, the same trigger, and instead of tightening, we can open. Not because we've figured it all out, not because it's easy, but because in that moment of choosing openness, we stop letting the world decide who we are. So I want us to be honest. Bitterness can feel safe, it can feel familiar, it can even feel justified. So when life feels unfair, when people let us down, when plans fall apart, bitterness can become a shield. And it tells us, I won't be caught off guard again. I'll protect myself. I won't let this touch me. But the thing is this, bitterness doesn't actually protect us. What it does, unfortunately, is it isolates us. And it freezes us in the very moment where we were hurt. And the longer we stay there, the harder it becomes to remember that life can feel any different. So bitterness is sticky. It really wraps around our hearts and hardens our hearts. And slowly but quietly, we can forget that softness was ever an option. So when we talk about being open, it doesn't mean that we pretend that things are okay when they're not. It doesn't mean that we bypass our pain. It doesn't mean that we force ourselves to be cheerful or agreeable. Openness is something else entirely. It's the willingness to stay with what's real without turning away, without shutting down. It's that choice to be with our experience, not against it. So to feel that sting, to feel the ache, to feel the discomfort, without adding the extra layer of blame or judgment or story. And that's not weakness, that's courage. Because it takes real strength to feel disappointment and to stay open-hearted, to hear something painful and stay curious, to stand in that uncertainty and say to yourself, well, I don't know, but I'm here. That's how we show up to life. That's how we show up to life with openness, again and again and again. And it's not something that we master. It's something that we practice imperfectly, humbly, very often with resistance. So you might find yourself closing down before you even realize it. That's okay. The work isn't to never close your heart, but it's to open when you have, to pause, to breathe, and then maybe to soften just a little. So we don't have to go from clenched to wide open in one leap. Sometimes openness looks like taking one honest breath or saying, I'm not sure, but I'm listening, or being quiet instead of reacting. Tiny moments. That's where the shift happens. Because the way we relate to our lives becomes our life. Not the events, not the outcomes, not the headlines, but the way we move through them. So you can live the same external life two different ways. You can do it with a mind that's tight and guarded, or one that's flexible and receptive. You can do it with a heart that's armored, or one that's available, even if it's been broken. And the internal experience is going to feel completely different. So here's the question to carry into your day. When life doesn't go the way you want, when things are messy or uncertain or disappointing, are you meeting the moment with bitterness or with openness? Not as a moral judgment, not as a way to be better, but as a genuine moment-to-moment inquiry into how you want to live. Because every single moment you get to choose. And every time you choose openness, you're planting the seed for something more spacious, more compassionate, more free. even if nothing changes on the outside. You'll be different. And maybe that's what freedom and happiness really is. I hope this has been helpful. As always, subscribe. Let's help you to get happier.